Hi and welcome to another junk journal with me. If you follow Geeker, I still don't know how to pronounce it correctly, you will recognize this pocket. She has made a tutorial on this, which I am following and of course linking below in the description box. So that's what I'm going to be making. I highly suggest you go watch her video because she has a great tutorial and more in-depth, more explanations than what I'm going to give you. And it's also slower how she's doing it, and yeah, so I am following her tutorial by starting off with a A4 size copy stained paper. This is in Europe our regular size, like you would have your legal size, I guess. And so I just folded it in half, and I've made a few of these now, and I've realized that it's very important to be exact on this. You want your corners matching up exactly, and you want to make sure that it's glued down all the way to the edges. Now once you fold it that lengthwise, you just fold it up. Make sure you have a good crease there, and then you fold the flap down, and there is where I made my first mistake actually, because the next step is where I make my first mistake, because you have to fold it up again, but you'll see that in a second. So now I'm just making the shape of the tag, and I'm gonna, so now, see, you have to fold it up again because you're actually gonna glue or sew that top part down, and I of course wasn't thinking that that flap needs to be higher up so I can access the pocket inside. So another reason for you to check out her video because she does a much better job at explaining this. So I tried to save this by again making another crease higher up, which is then fine. And now I am inking it up, but I'm actually forgetting that I wanted to round the corner of that flap. So I will be doing that afterwards and then inking those corners again. So now everything's inked up, and now I realize, yeah, I want the corners. I don't think Guy does that, but I kind of like the look, but either is of course fine. So now I'm gonna punch a hole to place an eyelet in. This is of course totally optional. You don't need the eyelet, but it gives it a nice finishing touch, I think. And I also wouldn't have needed to ink the back because I'm going to glue this into my journal. But of course, if you want to just give the tag to someone else like that, then of course you have to ink up the back. So now I'm just showing you where you have to sew. So you have to sew down on the sides and on the top, like you see there. So I'm just going to use the one that I've already sewed. And now I'm going to do some more or less random stamping with a random stamp. I can't tell you where I got this from because this was a present from Angel. And I'm just kind of stamping all over to give it a more grungy look. This is the same process that we've done with the envelope, which was in my April journal. And it was also a process by Guy or G. And also that process involved putting on some gesso, and if you don't have gesso at home, then you can just use some white acrylic paint, maybe thin it down a tad. So I'm just trying to kind of mute that black a little bit, and I'm going to be adding some decoupage napkin parts. And as you can see here, it gets a bit wrinkly when you do that, but it's totally fine because as soon as it's dry, those disappear again. So I'm just using my heat gun to dry this. You could of course also air dry it if you have more patience, or if you don't have a heat gun, you can use a hair dryer as well. And now I'm going to use this beautiful tissue or Kleenex. And since it's not a napkin but it's a tissue, it's going to have 4 layers in the back. And I'm just using a regular tape to get those layers off rather than trying to do that from the corner, which takes forever, at least when I try it. And if you're ever not sure if there's another layer on it or not, once you're down to the last layer, you will definitely see it's the last layer because it's just so very see-through. So now I'm just choosing a part to start off with for my left corner, and I really like that, so I'm just gonna glue that down with my glue stick. And what you could also do, if you wanted to mute the colors of your napkin, I could have also put the gesso on after those napkins have been decoupaged on, but in this case I decided to just mute the stamping and then have the vibrant colors of the napkin. So now I'm choosing another part for the top right corner underneath that flap. I got these napkins locally, but if you cannot find any beautiful napkins in your local shops, I've actually seen that they have beautiful ones on AliExpress as well. You just search for vintage napkins and you'll get some beautiful ones. You just have to be patient until they get to you. That's always the only downfall with AliExpress. So now I'm drying everything again. And now I'm going to cut off the excess, which is easier once it's dry because then it's more stiff. So my next step is I wanted to add some lace or trim or doilies or whatever, and I still have this beautiful half of a lace I got in a Happy Mail from the lovely Bea, and I thought I would try to use some parts for this pocket. And I really like that. So I'm just gonna later glue that there, and I wanted to see if I could use another one of those loopy parts up there, but it seemed like it was just a bit too much. So I did not do that. So I want to start off by just sticking that down as a first step. And since it's very thin, it works nicely with just a glue stick. And now I took out my drawer of laces and I wanted to put something over that and also on the top right on the flap. So I'm just trying out different pieces and seeing what I would like there. And by the way, I have been asked so many times to show my craft space. I don't have a craft room, I only have a space in my living room. And yeah, so I've been asked that multiple times throughout the past months. So I am thinking of actually doing that pretty soon. Yeah, I kind of feel a bit weird about it or shy, I don't know, because first of all, it's part of my living room, so I don't really want to show my whole living room. And second of all, I have accumulated a few things over the years because I've been doing this kind of crafting for years, and I don't know, I feel a bit shy about showing what I have because not everybody has that much, and I don't want to you know, have it come across like I'm showing off, which I really don't want to do. So yeah, but I understand you guys are interested in what my craft storage looks like, and I love watching other people's craft space and how they organized it. I totally get it. So I'm gonna jump over my shadow and try to film that in the next 1 or 2 weeks, and hopefully that will go well. Okay, so now I've pulled a few more lace trims. These are partially from flea markets, partially from Happy Mails. Yeah, some are even, I think, from AliExpress. So if you just search for lace trims or lace, then they have amazingly beautiful lace of all colors and sizes, and they have a huge selection. This is actually one of the ones I got there. I will link this one in the description box. I really love this one a lot. But what you need to know about this is when you cut it like this, and I don't know how they thought this would work, you're actually also cutting the thread where the beads are threaded on, meaning they will actually come off once you cut it. So I have glued those threads on again on the back, so hopefully this won't come apart. And I'm just gluing the whole piece over that. And there's the finished pocket, and I really love how that turned out. And next I wanted to add a little topper to that, so I take another piece of my lace and I'm just gonna tie a knot and trim that down a little bit, and then just leave it like that. Totally happy with that pocket. So now I decided to do the prompt messy or neat from the Cafe Analog May prompt list, which is also linked below. It's on Instagram, and it's such a fun list, and I'm just trying out a few of their prompts in random order. So now I chose this music page in my journal to glue that onto. And next we're going to look for a journaling card that I could put inside to do my journaling for this prompt on. So I have these little acrylic drawers with some medium sized ephemera, and I have these beautiful cards which are from AliExpress, and I will link them below as well. So I was trying to choose one of those, and I actually decided on this chair. I never thought I would use this one with the chair, but I think it's perfect for messy or neat because it's from your home, and I just think that works really well. But it was of course way too white, and so now I'm going to do the quickest coffee dyeing method that I know of, and of course spilled the coffee everywhere on my table. So I have no measurements. I just took a little bit of cold water, just added a spoonful of instant coffee, and that's it. Now I'm just using my sponge dabber to dab some of that onto the piece of paper. And either you have the patience to wait for it to dry and actually or put it in the oven, but in my case I have just used my heat gun, and I'm also inking the edges just because, yeah, I had the feeling that the edges weren't yet like I wanted them to be. So now I'm just gonna, on the front I'm gonna put the prompt, which was messy or neat. And then on the back I'm writing the following: I love it when everything is neat and organized. It makes me happy to come home to a neat and non-cluttered home. Once in a while I really get the urge to declutter radically, and then I'm happy. I've actually gone through that phase again right now. I have decluttered again a lot of books to make room for my journals in my shelves and it's like a never-ending story. But I don't want to store my journals away in a box or someplace. I want to see them because they make me so happy. So then I thought the card is too small and it's going to disappear in this pocket, so I had to put something on top. And I found this one, just living is not enough, which is perfect, I think, for this quote. And I have just punched these out with my tap punch, sticking that on. And I've said it in I think my last video. I'm gonna link again Cheeky Journals YouTube channel. She has a great video on how to make your own tabs without needing a tap punch, and it's a fabulous video, so check her out please. So that's it, that's the pocket, that's the prompt. Hope you give it a try. You don't have to sew, you can just glue the edges. You don't need a sewing machine to do this. It's just an extra touch if you want to. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.